this feeds the narrative that people go, well, I'm fed up, why should I? Why are they telling me when leaders, whether they're former leaders or not, are sort of flagrantly disobeying the leads, the rules?
Dr. Hilary, what did you take from the briefing yesterday? I mean, the clear negative message was infections, hospitalisations, all going the wrong way, and we face a very long winter ahead, don't we?
Yeah. So we've got more cases, we've got more hospitalisations, and we've got a rising mortality. So we're going in the wrong direction. The virus is spreading. It's just as virulent. We know it's easily transmissible. So it was a reminder that we all need to play our part and abide by the guidelines and the regulations. They've explained why in certain areas there's greater risk, and why those restrictions have to be ramped up a bit in those areas to protect the population there and the hospitals and the NHS staff in those areas.
Is there an explanation, Dr. Hilary, for why the North and Scotland are particularly badly affected?
No, they didn't explain that. We don't have data to suggest why that would happen, although there was a hint from the scientific and medical advisors that the reason is due to a failure to comply to sufficient social distancing. Social distancing is the thing that keeps us safe. It's the wearing of masks, it's the social distancing, it's the space between people that keeps people safe. And I think that we're seeing constant examples, you've pointed out two shining examples just now, of people who just seem to think that the rules don't apply to them and the guidelines don't apply to them. And actually, every single one of us needs to play our part to respect other people, as you've just said. Otherwise, this virus will spread. And we are following the curve that we're seeing in France, which is concerning because there they are seeing more hospitalisations. In London, we've got more patients being admitted to intensive care. And we're not just talking about elderly, infirm people. We're talking about some young people as well. You know, I don't have to tell you that this can affect people. I mean, Kate's husband is still desperately ill. We've seen many young people on this programme this week talking about how they contracted the virus, they think in Tenerife, they brought it back here. And we've got a large number of people that we know from studies are not self-isolating when they should be. And that's irresponsible. You know,
Kate,
I don't know what we have to say to these people.
Particularly frustrated, or do you have some sympathy with people who are thinking, you know, these rules are getting complicated and it's hard to follow them?
I have huge sympathy with people who are fed up with it. I think if you haven't been directly touched by it, you haven't seen the devastation, but your life has been devastated, your livelihood, your ability to feel sense of joy, then of course I think you're going to get frustrated. But, you know, it does make me tempted to show a picture of Derek in his current state and say, you don't want this in your life. You just don't want this in your life, and you don't know who it'll affect and how. So, you know, stick to it. Stick to the best. I think there's huge confusion around it, and we've also been told different messages at different times. But I think we kind of know that wearing a mask, not mixing with people, social distancing, we know the basics, don't we? And we have to just do our best.
And it's really interesting, in those countries where they've had better progress, in the Far East, Taiwan, Japan, where Germany and Italy have been learning from, it's this ethos of we're looking after each other. That's the idea. I mean, the samurai rule is that anyway in Japan, of looking after each other. And Germany and Italy have adopted that. And it's that culture. And when Boris Johnson was on yesterday, that's what I wanted to hear from him, this idea that, you know, we are all looking out for each other despite the fact it's very difficult. And then the morning after, we get that from his father.
But I think it's also quite hard, though, because some people feel like, you know, they're having to go and visit their elderly relatives or going to visit their... A friend of mine was saying the other day, you know, my daughter's a single mum, she's struggling. I feel like I need to go and visit her because I'm trying to look after her as well. I think there's so many shades of grey in it.
Of course there is.
But if we stick to the basics...
But I think it's a
then
mindset.
I think we can get... Hopefully
the thing is that if we do what we should be doing, we'll get through it much quicker. As you say, Adil, quite correctly, if you look at what's happened in Thailand, South Korea, Finland, where they've been stricter, they've got through it quicker, and their GDP has suffered. Their economy has survived much better than that of the US and the UK. So there is a good reason for everybody to be responsible now, so we can get through it quicker. And, you know, I want to see my kids, of course I do, but I haven't been able to, and I've been doing what I think is right because it's a sacrifice we all have to make. And I was talking to Kate earlier that, you know, 70 years ago we went through a war which was 6 years long, and people are getting fed up after a few months, and we just have to be a little bit more disciplined and a little bit more patient.
Yeah, although
Derek's
there's a
mum
warning.
and dad haven't been able to see Derek. And I think if they can go 6 months without, you know, giving a hug or make me feel emotional to their son, who's so desperately ill, then the rest of us can probably get through.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that it just brings it all back down to earth, doesn't it?
Doesn't
when
it?
we think about the situation you're in, Kate.
Yeah. Yes, sorry, I didn't mean to depress everybody, but, you know,
No,
that's
no.
that's the reality
I think we need to hear that.
of getting caught up in the virus
Yeah,
directly.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Don't want to do it.
And I know
You don't
we just want to give you a hug as well, and we
know.
can't do that. We can't do that either.